The colleague from Portugal, for example, mentioned the need to promote a better use of the administrative data, because it is important. I can understand that also, because it was mentioned that we can promote surveys, but surveys are usually very expensive, and a better use of administrative data can be a way to overcome this problem. And then we also had a very interesting discussion on the index, on the European Union Gender Equality Index that we are assigned to develop here in AIGE, with very important comments raised also from Spain, which we certainly at AIGE will take on board. And this is the right moment for everybody to contribute, because the work is taking off. I think we also have, we have discussed some, for example, the problem of the lack of data. Nevertheless, because important surveys for gender equality, such as the time use survey, it is not implemented within the European Union member states in a systematical way. So we might say that before the big conclusion, still concerning the index, I particularly liked the statement of OECD telling that an equality index can be used as a powerful advocacy tool, but it should be carefully used, and we shouldn't underestimate the technical aspects, that is for sure. So, because of this lack of harmonization, comparability, I think a good conclusion for our workshop is that more regulation and more financial support is needed for the production of better gender-sensitive statistics. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ligia. And now I want to pass to my other colleague from AIGE, Joanna Borsa. She's also a gender expert at AIGE, and she will present the results of the third group, which in fact was the first workshop group on the decision-making, women in decision-making.
Thank you, Barbara. In the workshop, we had a very quick, like thunder presentation of Spain, as the representative have to catch a flight, but nevertheless was very energizing. And we heard in like 10 minutes how Spain managed in the last 20-30 years to increase the number of women in different levels of decision-making representation. And just to give you some figures, if in 1988 there were 2 women ministers, in the last cabinet of Spain, even if there was a reduction in number of women, 9 out of 70 ministers are women. It was a very, very quick presentation in terms of how quotas can function. Actually, quotas for women representation, and then I will pinpoint a very good observation from the Portugal side, why we should not say any more quotas, but minimum representation of either sex. so how quotas actually can function in terms of representation. Decision making, we analyze decision making the way it has been pinpointed in the new Commission strategy, the level of political decision making at the level of economic area, especially in the management boards of private or public companies, and then in regards to academic and public research institutions and women presence or lack of women presence in this area. But the discussion mainly focused on the political. We try to take the example from the political to see if it works or not in regards to easing the way of women access to the boards, management boards, and some example from the academia and research. Then we took on presentation from Portugal, Finland, and Croatia. The common point of all this presentation is, and coming back to Spain, comparing the different level of representation is how difficult, even if theoretical it might seem, how difficult it is for women to access actually position at the local level, because the way the politics is dealt with in that area is different from the way the politics is done at national level or more public spaces where the rules are more transparent, where the politicians are under view, and so women's access it's much more easier. And this is one of the strengths that Portugal put, that generally if we look at any kind of decision making, being in politics, economics, research, academic, if the criteria are clear and transparent, there are much more chances for women to get access there than when criteria are not very clear or diffuse. And here it comes to the point how important legislation in regulating quotas or different other administrative acts in facilitating the access of women in a different decision-making position. So we had a discussion for and against quotas, if we should use these words or not. Examples of legislation from Portugal and Finland. In regards to to women's presence in research and academia, it was given as a model, it was given the example of role models that can be promoted, and maybe in this way women can be encouraged more to stay in the academia, to follow a career, and maybe reach the position of full professorship. Another way in addressing the lack of presence of women, especially in the academia, was trying to address the gender-based stereotypes through education from a very young age, in which you try to, we all know, you try to present that, becoming a hairdresser is not the dream of every girl, and science and technology can be interesting for women too. And what I wanted to say at the end, we also receive comments what is expected from EGE in this regards. And one is first to try to collect these positive actions that different member states manage to do in this area, and to update them as often as possible. And if it is possible also in terms of legislation and other administrative measures, all this to be made available to the public and to other member states' institutions. Then try to collect examples of trainings that has been done in order to help women to get involved into politics, and also develop managerial skills so that they can access different positions. And the example of gender task force in the Balkans were given, so maybe we can take from there and try to look for other examples and make them again available to our stakeholders. Then try, if it is possible, to get involved in the review process of of gender aspects of the national reform plans that has to be derived from the 2020 strategy. Try to answer positive and get involved to different invitations that the national states make. So we make our presence more known at this level. Then try to collect and use the different examples of communication strategies within this activity of decision making, and maybe develop our own from there. And yes, there was another one to use the Council of Europe recommendation in the area of decision making that has also very elaborated an explanatory memorandum, and maybe from there we can develop further. Thank you.
This is maybe something you take home with your package now. You have got a little insight already that we are here also to work with you. And we are happy to know that you are here to support our work. So the joint efforts are starting, and we are really hopeful to reach the synergies and the common goals. We have had a little insight during this short seminar of today, but we take it as a kind of kickoff, as you said before. You said set off or start off? Kicking off, yes. So I think we have done well today, and thank you all for having contributed to this.